What's going on, guys? The time has come. We are back for another episode of Lordly Caliber, The Resurrection. It's three-piece today. It's me and Emmy from the IOPC. Go check them out, or you're the worst ever. And Donald as well over there. Actually, Donald might have a bit of a glasses to tink moment today because dates are important to me. As if you watch anything on Black Dragon Gaming's YouTube channel, you'll know. But it's going to say a week later on YouTube because the first time I ever tried to stream a thing, the audio was so poor, we had to take it down, buy a program to fix it, upload it. But as of today, this game did start off in Pathfinder 1st Edition, and as of today, Lord the Caliber is a year old. We did it, Donald. He's the only one left. Well, Joe. Joe shows up when he can. Everybody else is... Many people have come. Many people have gone. Many worlds have ended. Many former characters' dads get horribly killed by dwarves. But that's a story for last time.
Yeah, playing in a long-term campaign is definitely a unique experience. Everyone should at least experience once.
Yeah, I agree completely. Anywho, we are gonna just open our Twitch actually on my computer so I can make sure that I'm being terrible and Adam and Kane and Joe, who aren't with us today, can talk behind my back and I will watch it and I will see it and I will be like, don't do that. So far, nobody's talking poop on us. Okay, good enough for me. All right, time for that in-character reflection. Evens is Donald, odds is Emmy. I'm gonna roll 1d3. Yeah, that favors odds, obviously. 1d4. Odds is Emmy. Emmy, big session last time for you. Huge session. The biggest session.
Well, I suppose things have come full circle. That was an experience, but Altach Nacha is still out there. And even though I have Emmy back in some way, there's still much more to do. Much more to do to make sure that she stays safe.
That is incredibly accurate. Take that hero point, and Donald, you're on the...
With the mission relative success, Artorias definitely need to think about if Lucia can be saved, or if she can even change her ways, even if a bit to return back to normal society. Artorias have seen enough people gone rogue and became blackguards in terms of Abadar faith. And he want to make sure Lucia can try to be saved and redeemed to be a normal citizen, or as much of a normal citizen Lucia can be again.
Fair enough. I won't call you out for bias on your former character.
Well,
no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah. You're not wrong. I'm just giving you shit. Take that airport, my friend, and you guys find yourselves basically as soon as MacLeod's heart stops beating and Xander resolves everything in the Dimension of Dreams with the Varisians, you find yourselves back in the halls of the afterlife. Helmut is there, Bradley is there, Greymantle is there. Greymantle kind of like wanders off on his own. After all, like, the things you guys have seen and done. A door opens pretty much like right behind the two thrones where the primordial good and the primordial evil that the gods of the Pathfinder universe have been revealed to be sit. And as you guys show up, the Varisians do as well. They all kind of, not simultaneously as much anymore now that they've left the Dimension of Dreams. When one foot comes up, it's not everybody's left foot, right foot at exactly the same time. But it's relatively close. You can see a lot of people kind of look around with blank eyes that begin to fill with wonder and well and truly sentience. You guys realize that all the stuff that you had, minus the Star Scarf and backstory stuff like the familiars, like Arendelle is still there. You can still get extra spells with it. Has been taken from you and it's been replaced with newer stuff just like that, basically. And in addition, both of you and Adam, Kane, Joe, when you watch, you guys get this too. And I'm saying it here so you'll remember. But you guys both carry it. Doesn't fill a slot. It's a slotless item, but it's perhaps like, oh, Philopsix was pretty big. Okay, so probably about the size of like this mug of coffee here, about like that. But it's hollow and it's shaped not unlike like when a cat sheds its claws, right? It's like that, except it's a lot stronger. There's no, well, there is. There's still that like that U shape that you get from something that shed its claws, and when you bend it a little, the effect is not unlike like taking a glow stick and snapping it. Of course, you can't ever break it, but it functions as a permanent light source. When you guys like to like set it off, it's not like the light cantrip where everything glows like flashlight blue. It's as if you kick off. It's as if you like kick off a sunrise in your hand by doing this.
So it's like the continual flame spell, how it worked in 1E effectively.
Yeah. Continual flame is a little better to say than light, I suppose.
Nice. With us leveling up, I took Celestial as a language, so
Smart.
So the book I have, if we have any downtime, I would read it to learn any more clues about what MacLeod have been doing to trying to find Lucia.
Fair enough. Okay, now that you can speak the language, there's not a lot of downtime involved. You can literally just read it. And what you find out is that somewhere between, I'm trying to think where Artorias was. I know where Xandu was during this time, but around the time it started snowing really bad and the rebellion in Kadira kicked up real hard, a lot of weird power struggles began happening in the Chelish Empire, and out of nowhere they converted to Sarenrae worship, and the Colliginous Order, which is Ural's essentially the boogeyman of the boogeymen, showed up and they started moving and shaking, and MacLeod saw the writing on the wall and he wanted to defect to the rebellion, but he writes like early in the journal that he would only do it if he got to talk to his daughter, and he never did. So what ended up happening was he was given control of most of the armies that the Chelish sent in when they took over Taldor. Oppara was under his stewardship for a while, and with no daughter to talk to, there was no surrender, and lots and lots and lots of rebel soldiers assaulted Oppara, but as Artorias and Xandu both know, the man had never lost a siege in his entire career, and it became more of the same. And then he come to realize, not long after his daughter was able to be scryed again because she wasn't in the Darklands anymore, she died a horrible, terrible death. MacLeod tried to get to her, but the Heck Knights got there first. Lots of ensuing fights. They ended up dying somewhere in the Verduran Forest, and now it would appear that rather than be allowed to move forward, Lucia LaCroix is the property of a necromancer in Geb, who MacLeod refers to only as that damned rat, or other worse words as well. He begins, from there forward, the writing gets a little erratic. A little, like, you can tell the dude's isolating himself. He's trying to figure out how he's going to get his daughter back from one of the most powerful necromancers on Galarian, as that necromancer amasses more power and spreads all throughout, like all of Geb, next the Mana Wastes, Osirion, eventually to Sothis, a little farther west as well. Eventually, it crosses his mind that if he were to create more creatures like the creature that was created when he failed to take Fort Rannoch, he might stand a fighting chance. And this in the journal happens pretty randomly and out of nowhere. You guys had already figured out that a great old one was messing with his mind. And that's probably about the time that came in, and from there it just gets very erratic. Eventually he just kind of abandons writing the journal, and you guys know what happens next.
Xandu, I have read the journal. And I would explain the content of it up to the point how he went crazy. I don't really want to push this on to you and everyone else, but I need you and your help to kill to kill this rat lich and save Lucia if possible. Do you aid me in this?
Everyone else is a little like busy at the moment. Bradley Boulder Rip was too busy tying one on. He just had to fight a guy who was too strong for him, and then he broke his neck, Mountain Root style. Whereas Grey Mantle has gone on his own, and however Helmut talks, Helmut says some words in Kenning and goes away.
Everyone else is enjoying R&R at the moment. So Xandu, what do you do as I ask this request of you?
You guys do still have that map, by the by, that's revealed that has where the two swords were over Corvosa. That's been kind of like the two swords are still there, but it doesn't pulse with energy anymore. There are still definitely several places you could go.
Which map was that? We got 3 in here. Found
It's the one you guys want is Map of the World, I think.
Map World?
Map of the World for you people in the Roll 20. I'm terrible.
So which of these swords is crossed off?
The right by the in the Holy Chelish Empire. I'll put it up for everybody on Twitch as well.
Okay,
where is it?
This is probably just the idea, but as we cross these swords off, just change the map as need be.
Yeah, I was gonna today, but I didn't quite get around to it. Busy. But you get the idea. So the remaining, and you guys know a couple days have passed, so some of the information you got at all of these has most certainly changed. But you have the remaining points of the primordial good and evil wants you to go to stop the resurrection of the true Saren Ray and the end of the world, as many faiths have predicted, are somewhere randomly in the forests of Usulav, Igorian, the capital of the Holy Chelish Empire, the Ark of Eridan, which is the Strait of Gibraltar, but with a road, essentially, and like a bunch of big bridges and stuff that connect Avestan and Garund, the former capital of Osirion, Sothis, Casimir and Oppara, 2 real big cities in Taldor, the Verduran Forest, and then off to the east where you can't see, the Pit of Gormuz, Rovagug's final resting place.
So the sword at the southwest of the Holy Church Empire. So where is that?
The one that looks like it's sitting on like the peninsula.
Yes, it's
that's the Ark of Eridan. That is again, it's like the Strait of Gibraltar between Spain and North Africa.
So what is the mission objective in that region exactly?
Well, you guys aren't sure now. You know, a couple days ago there was a real big fight there between the Elfin and the Chelish. Certainly after a couple days that fight is likely over. What's going on there now is a little harder to tell.
Xandu, part of me wants to go to the Ark of Eridan. What is your thoughts? Should we go there?
Well, the book mentioned something about Oppara, did it not? I thought you wanted to go after Lucia.
Yes, we are dealing with a lich after all, and my general experience, would Artorius know how powerful liches are generally?
A little broader strokes, but yeah, liches are generally pretty powerful arcane or divine casters.
Liches generally, they're pretty powerful casters. I don't want to go in with us at our current power. At the moment, we would be decimated.
Now, with that said, Xandu definitely has an army at his beck and call. You imagine, like, if you send them out, they're going to take casualties, and it's not a resource you can use infinitely. And it's definitely taking the people who will eventually repopulate Virizia and sending them out to die, but they will do it unquestioningly and with total loyalty.
Xandu, if we're going after this lich, I'd rather have us go in fully prepared at our best and strike the lich down at the first chance, because dealing with powerful creatures like this, there is no second or third chances dealing with them unless we are equally powerful as well.
Well, what exactly did MacLeod say as you fought him?
Oh, we, if I remember correctly from my notes, he wanted to save his daughter.
What he said to
If I,
you while everyone was in the Dimension of Dreams, that he showed up and commanded you to kill your friends.
oh, MacLeod ordered me to kill you and all of my friends. I disobeyed the order as he was not sane, and the order was counterproductive to what the mission objective was.
Hmm.
Mm. As
This
a
is
soldier, I'm a
completely out
soldier.
of character, but I thought MacLeod said something about uh, if he doesn't, his daughter will die or something like that.
Correct.
That is also true. That came up, but the main thing that was said to just Artorias, that wasn't anybody else, was the command to kill you guys. But that is also correct. MacLeod believed that you guys were in direct opposition to rescuing his daughter. And you guys can interpret now that means that the reason that was is because through your actions he was never able to quite complete the ritual that would make just bajillions of thought form creatures, which you assume he was going to attack Sothis with.
Hmm.
And so I disobeyed him. One thing I learned from my experience in Israel as a guard, as a miner, as a mercenary, and in Chidiax as a soldier and as a Hell Knight, you never ever betray your friends, even if the order come from a superior. Some orders you never ever go through, knowing the consequences. I've seen enough friends die to know certain orders you should never follow through with.
Siding with an insane man may have been not in your best interest, that is for sure. Though it does dawn on both of you that, well, probably more Xandu than Artorias, because Artorias was guarding the sleeping friends, but despite everything over the course of both individuals' careers and what both individuals know of each other, in this particular case, Xandu did try to draw first blood. And though the House of the Croy was pretty dragged through the mud for a while over like assassination attempts, getting blamed on MacLeod and stuff, he had clout in the Holy Chelish Empire, and by killing him, you may have lost a pretty powerful ally. That said, by killing him, you also have brought the nation of Varizia back from the brink of extinction. That whole ethnicity is going to survive because of that.
Nice to know this out of the game. Xandu, so so where do you want to go next? I don't want to go to Geba right away, knowing how ill prepared we are at the moment.
That's fair.
If we,
My only concern is that Lucia might be in danger uh, immediately, more of an immediate danger than we realize based on what MacLeod said.
would Artorias know Xandu had worked with Lucia?
Only if Xandu shares it.
Xandu.
That's not true. You would know because like wanted posters and things. They were ranking members of the rebellion for a while.
Xandu, with your magic, can you divinate Lucia's status? I know you're a powerful divinator.
Xandu will He'll look over at Arundel.
Yep.
Well, what do you say? You want to help me find out how Lucia is?
Okay. We'll figure out. She was nice. We can help her. She didn't look like she would animate zombies or anything. And it will activate the once a week perfect divination. So I believe that does require a question.
So the question,
Yes.
let's phrase it. Is she in immediate danger? Oh,
Uh,
call it,
I think a
that's it.
better way to put it would be will we still be able to save her if we complete another mission first?
Arundel furrows its little homunculus brows together and begins shaking like the diet soda with the not the Mentats. This isn't Fallout with the Mentos in it. Just maybe. Arundel kind of he doesn't like collapse, but just kind of that takes a lot out of me. Ask me again in 7 days.
I am going to hug Arundel.
Okay.
You did a
Oh,
you did a very good job. I am proud of you.
your armor and wings are pokey. Why are you made of metal? It hurts me, but I don't really have feelings because I'm a homunculus. And then let's go.
So we can take the necessary risk to do another mission.
Maybe.
Well, the way I would interpret that is that saving her would depend entirely upon our actions while we are fighting the Lich. So that it would be a maybe either way.
That makes sense.
What we know now for sure is that if we go do another mission, there's still a chance of saving her.
A question: was my background as a Hell Knight and General Arcana knowledge? Would I, with the risk of us doing another mission, uh, would I know what type of magic the Lich would actually use on souls that he have claimed, or is that beyond Artorias' knowledge as a whole?
That's probably beyond anybody who's not like lore liches or that kind of thing.
Mm.
It could have been anything from like simply reanimating her corpse and thus preventing her soul from achieving judgment to like if she and the rat had dealings, maybe those dealings came to fruition upon her death or anywhere in between, really.
Oh, interesting.
Technically, there is only one way to find out, but there's a lot of other things going on as well.
For the meantime, rather than pondering too much about what we should do next, there is this odd door now.
Remind me, where does this store? Is it Alcerian?
You guys haven't gone in the door yet. It's appeared behind the throne in this in the grand hall, and all the Varisians have gone through it. Well, not 90% of them. There's some people that stop at the tables to stop and eat and discover the tastes of food that they think from the memories that they like, but they haven't actually tasted, so they're not sure if they like it, and so they have to. Right, they got to complete the cycle. Thought form creatures are fun.
Are we in the Hall of the Afterlife?
Yes, you are. You are okay. Back to base, essentially. Tag up, get a level.
So, so in Osirian, would I have any Hell Knight connections or any Hell Knight allies I could potentially use in the area that I wouldn't know of past missions?
Not really. Well, that's not entirely true. Probably not. The Colliginous Order did a pretty thorough sweep when they took over, and people like you were killed for not being true believers. That said, it's not outside of the realm of possibility that there might be a couple of holdouts somewhere, though truthfully, they're probably here somewhere. But as far as like actively serving in the Holy Chelish Empire right now, it's extremely unlikely.
The two
Where
so our
where
choice.
did Emmy head off to?
She went in the door.
She went in the door?
Yeah, she did.
Now, I don't know about you, but I am curious as to what's behind door number 1.
So can we open the door and see what is behind it?
It's hanging open right now. It just kind of
Okay,
like
so,
I say door, but it's more like a gate, like a size category huge gate.
so what is on the other side of it?
You guys just see whiteness as if you were staring into a cloud, that kind of thing.
So is this the type of gate that you can poke through quickly to see what is on the other side?
You can
Or
certainly
you have
try.
to.
Well, your order of the gate. Yeah, no, you're pretty sure.
Yes, so that's a yes to look at the other side quickly.
You can try it. You're reasonably sure that nothing is going to eat you if you try to do that, or like your head won't get like cut off Stargate style.
Okay, Zandu, I'm going to have a look at the other side, but hold my hand in case if something bad happens. So,
Aww. You're into this. Ah, the metal person wants to be nice and hold hands. That's weird, but okay. I thought you would be mean, but you're nice.
not every single Hell Knight is evil. Some of us like to fight the good fight still.
Then why are you called Heaven Knights? Or Nice Knights?
Well, it's due to our it's due to our original founder and how our order was built upon. And you can read all that in all the 1E books related to Hell Knights, how their origin story started.
Arundel's eyes expand as it becomes aware of the meta, like so many Darrow before it.
The Hell Knights, how we were formed, is quite the interesting history. You should actually read up the books that the afterlife have. Talk to some of the Hell Knights that have fell in here. You may learn a thing or two.
Okay, books hurt my head though. Reading is hard.
Talk to them. So I pat on his head. Everything is going to be fine.
Okay.
So I give my hand to Zandu. So pull me on the other side if anything bad happens, and I poke through to the other side of the gate.
No, there's a sphere of annihilation. You die. No, just kidding. It's not the Tomb of Horrors, but it's tempting. You poke your head through, and it's as if you'd stepped out into the village of Sandpoint. People mill about, more or less looking like they're living normal lives in a quaint, sleepy little village, such as that. Of course, they're all armed to the teeth. But they just, like, several people are moving around, and, like, somebody, like, passes a wheelbarrow and pushes it, and, like, that's how this works. Perhaps I can put stuff in it. Okay. And they've learned how to wheelbarrow, and they push the wheelbarrow.
So this is definitely Sandpoint. I would at least.
Yeah, you're definitely in Verizia. It looks like not unlike a miniature Verizia that has been created to store them.
Zandu, we are at Sandpoint on the other side.
Is it covered in snow?
It is not.
Nope. Not at the current moment.
Warm spring day.
It is quite nice. You come on the other side, and I would take off my heavy robes I would be wearing for the exterior.
Okay, sure. I guess warm spring day is a lot for the Canadian, huh? Since it's already snowing there in the middle of September.
right?
Well, it's certain part of Canada snow early September.
Damn.
Yep. Anyway, so we go through to a nice, not snowing and cold place.
Yep, pretty much. And it's more of the same. Lots of people who are armed with earthbreakers and javelins and star knives, oh my, just kind of wandering around like, this is a chicken. I can feed it with this grain. Okay. And they do so. Several people begin picking up like classic Varisian instruments, and this is how dancing works. Okay. And they start. Basically, you're watching a culture relearn how to be its culture.
Nice. Being at Sandpoint, Artorias is reminded of some of the jobs he actually did as a mercenary in this region.
His time and rise of the Rune Lords.
Nope. I mean, Sandpoint is a place, and mercenary go through it. So
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
This is such a nice place. It does remind me of good times.
His time in Jade Regent, or any of the other APs that begin in the sleepy town of Sandpoint. Yeah. Return of the Rune Lords, out later this month.
Those adventure paths, they are quite fun for the setting alone.
They are. They really are.
So how does Xandu react to this?
Does Xandu come through as well?
Yes.
Okay, so Xandu comes through, and if Xandu spends a little too long looking at any of these people, they turn and they snap to attention, star-nosed over hearts, the butts of earthbreakers slammed into the ground. But like, if you stop looking at them, think about something else, think about anything not super involved, they go back about their day. It's almost like a really good way to describe it is it's like playing The Sims, and people know how to do stuff, but then you click on them and they get the icon and they just stop dead and wait for orders. It's like that. Strange music begins to play, and you start purchasing couches for all the houses at
Sandpoint. Xandu feels very uncomfortable with this.
That's fair.
He prefers the people go about their business and do what they want to do than to snap to attention to take orders from him.
Mm-hmm. And by and large, that seems to be what they're doing, going about their own business and stuff, but a lot of them are still trying to figure out, like, what exactly that means for them. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Xandu is curious as to where Emmy might have wandered off to, what part of Sandpoint.
Okay, you think about her for a little too long, and she just kind of turns the corner alongside considerably older Xandu, who now walks upright and wears clothing not unlike what Xandu's wearing now, as if, imagine, if you will, creating the Xandu who had a mental disorder who he couldn't, like, it was beyond Restoration's ability to fix, and so he just spun a pyramid and went, wheel or whoa! Recreating that as a thought form creature didn't work because it would try to, like, fill in the thoughts, and it would get the thoughts of a mentally healthy person, and so it well and truly fixed him. And it's surreal to see somebody who looks like Xandu without the wings, but about like 60 years older. Yeah, humans in Galarian can live to be 90. That'd be fun. He carries a blackened staff with a, like, the pyramid of power has been slapped onto the top of it, and it, like, the top half, middle half, bottom half, all three make, like, concentric circles.
That's awesome.
That sounds a lot like Nyarlathotep now. I don't mean for that, or do I? But that's what's going on. He, like, just a wise old man and little girl. They end up walking in both of your directions. Assuming you both are together. I guess this is a kind of Mindscape type place, so if you weren't together, they could well and truly walk in both of your directions.
I forgot to ask, does Xandu still have this Xandu still have the Pyramid of Power?
You do not.
Okay.
Xandu, do you need a moment alone with Emmy and this other person?
Not necessarily, but it is all very surreal at this point,
Mm, yep.
as I was created as a thought form creature, so too have I created thought form creatures.
Full circle.
So Xandu will he's considerably taller than Emmy is, so he will like kneel down um so that his face is sort of level with hers.
Okay.
And um so what do you think? It's an awful lot like Sandpoint, isn't it?
It is. It feels like home.
Wonderful. For a long time, all I've wanted is for you to have a place that felt like home again.
She nods. Will I have to fight when the time comes? As she says this, several men and women all turn and they start to go to attention, but then don't, and they kind of just peter off to do their own thing again.
Hopefully, I am fighting so that you don't have to.
You say this, and older Xandu, he doesn't like get between you two, but he puts his staff down between you two and just, it's okay, son. Call on us when you're ready. When the time is right, we will be there.
Uh, I put my hand onto Emmy's shoulder. Enjoy life as much as you can. Let let us let us uh, let us other veterans fight the fights that you do not need to fight. Some of us can never ever live a true normal life, and this is something you should appreciate for its full worth. I do envy you a bit living a normal life like this at times.
Well, and this is older Xandu. Emmy, run along. Your dance instructor is waiting. Go. And she
Have
nods
fun.
and she goes
Younger
away.
Xandu smiles.
Have fun.
He turns and he rests his hand. Like, as he goes to rest his hand on top of the pyramid pivots 90 degrees forward. So the staff itself kind of like whip and becomes almost like walking stick shaped. So he has something to rest his hands on. Not necessarily like he dreams of Genie, but you get the idea. Well, son, we were created for that purpose. We are all ready to give our lives for whatever it is you ask. We owe you our very existence. Our lives are yours.
It would be my preference that you would go on living them. As much of the world is falling apart, and I'd prefer that somebody somewhere can still live a happy life.
Are you sure? There's not a lot left down there. You may need our help. If you don't call on us, obviously we will not come. But more may die if we remain here. Also, this can never truly be home. It functions as an adequate facsimile. He taps his staff twice on the ground, and you guys find yourselves in the city of Magnamar. But it can never truly be real. I suppose neither can we. He looks down at his hand, does this. This existence is strange. It's the same story. When
Tell
you
me
guys
about
get to
it.
Magnamar, there's more people they're basically trying to figure out how a city works. But they don't get it. They don't understand how money works or how inns work or how carts work or anything like that.
Younger Xandu sort of holds out his hand, moves it around as well. It really is quite strange. It took me a very long time to figure out that I was a thought form creature myself, and then almost as soon as I knew, the gods had called me and I had died, and they made me a real body, but my consciousness is still my own.
And I suppose that's all any of us are, he says, continuing to look at his hand. Simply consciousness. How does it feel? Pain. He says that, and a lot of other Verizians all kind of like perk up. Clearly also curious.
I would, it's not fun, I'll tell you that. Although, sometimes the risk associated with it can give a little bit of a rush as well.
Pain, it is not a pleasant thing to feel, but it is a useful tool if you use it properly. Pain, as long as you use it properly, you know you're alive and living still. My experience fighting evil outsiders have taught me the value of understanding pain and learning from it to improve.
And all of Artorius's piercings pop out of his face. That's his true
Nope,
nature.
It would be a lot of battle scars that healed over, but a few would be there still. Pretty deep demon claw wounds that never healed up properly. So picture what would be a orc face that had been clawed but wasn't healed properly.
Fair enough.
I know what Xandu will do.
As you guys are having all this serious
Xandu
conversation,
will mind link to the thought form creature.
Okay. Do that.
And share some of his experiences of pain with him.
Okay. The thought form creature's eyes get real big for a second as the information is transferred. I see. Well, of course, we would all like to avoid that, but it's probably inevitable now that we exist. And we exist for one purpose. Though we exist as individuals, we also exist as manifestations of you. You wanted us, and here we are. As he says this, there's a wheelbarrow with a little boy. Well, not a little boy, he's obviously an adult, but like the trappings of the man-child, shall we say. Riding in this wheelbarrow, which seems to be full of him and cinnamon rolls. There's a chicken pulling the wagon. It is good.
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose he would exist too.
He would. He seems happy in his own kind of way.
There are certain pains that one should never experience or even tell it. Certain pains, or you cannot even describe them, how terrifying they are. I have experienced such pains in my experience fighting evil.
I see.
How did you die, Artorius?
I died fighting demons outside of Judiac's borders.
I'm about 90% sure your backstory said you were executed by the collision.
No. That was the original one before I actually made it.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, never mind. My bad. I'm the worst.
That's okay. I died fighting demons. Uh, Me and the other knight orders was working with. We were pushing back a uh, demon invasion on one of the fronts.
Hmm.
So suffering wounds from demons is it's partly normal for me. It's unpleasant at best, but I know I'm alive if I can feel such pains.
And what about you? Me? How did you pass from this world?
Well, I drew my last breath protecting the one who created me.
I see. He nods thoughtfully, and he gets really quiet and kind of withdraws into himself.
Um, although the last thing I do remember seeing some man in green showed up and took her through a odd gate, and there were, it's hard to explain, but it's like there were more of her on the other side of it. But I made sure to ask once I made it to the afterlife that she was going to be safe there. Oh, something happened.
Tommy is going to be back. He probably doing a bio break or something.
Hmm.
That never happened. My cat was freaking out.
Ah,
Old man Zandu nods thoughtfully. Do you think she is safe now?
yes, I do. Although it's odd, it would probably do her more harm than good if I were to see her again.
That makes sense. I'm sure this isn't easy for you either. We've all sprung forth from your thoughts made manifest. You, of course, did it willingly and with the aid of powerful magic. Whereas, from what we understand, she did it in a burst of power, the likes of which she probably still doesn't understand. Perhaps one day she will.
I hope so.
Uh,
But I do. Yes, Artarius?
uh, Using Artorias' knowledge, would he know how Emmy did this?
You could try an occultism or arcana check.
Arcana then.
Okay, sure.
I'm actually glad I actually changed some of my skills around, so I'm pretty good in Arcana. So 26.
So, it's not uncommon for something along the lines of a sorcerer when that sorcerer finds their power to just, like, the power bursts forth in one gigantic manifestation, and something along the lines of creating a thought form creature tracks with that. You assume, well, you'd heard reports, rather, even of the Battle of Fort Rannoch, where it was all but won, and then MacLeod LaCroix had victory slip from his grasp, and a lot of people don't really know or remember why. The archives are very, very incomplete on the subject, as if whole trains of thought of people are just missing, wiped away. You assume this is where it happened, and just like the creation of something very powerful, tear at the fabric of reality, attract the attention of a great old one, things of that nature.
Mm. I believe the origin of how some of these thought creatures were made at the Battle of Fort Ragnarok, if I recall my records properly on this matter.
It would make sense.
Amy is quite a powerful sorcerer. She needs to train that ability to keep it in line to make sure it doesn't consume her. Sorcerers that are not trained properly, without proper mentorship, they tend to go rogue and AWOL and cause more harm with such power, which is why sorcerers are an interesting
Well,
bunch. At least,
what
uh,
what I found to be true with her is that the more, at least from my memory, the more time she spent in some sort of creative work, be it dancing or writing, the more she had control over power. But I can't really say because I honestly have never witnessed it firsthand. It is just my memory of her memory.
Old man Zandu nods thoughtfully, and she has taken well to the dance. It's most likely, unless of course you call on her, that this version of her may never know that sorceress gift. She may well and truly get the life of peace that you wanted for her. Of course, that may mean a life of simpleness, shall we say, as he drums on his quarterstaff and the pyramid revs up a little bit.
there's a certain sense of enjoyment when it comes to the simple life. I was born in a mining town in Israel. We didn't have much but the simple things of life, and we enjoyed it to the fullest. This the simple life is one thing most people take for granted, but it's something that anyone can appreciate the value of being raised in such a community of that size.
Well, there is definitely something to say for that. But I do believe that there are other ways she could manifest power without having to necessarily go into the midst of a battlefield. Uh,
Mm,
just
mm.
if I
Uh,
do survive, I might be able to help her tap into it somehow.
mm. Tommy, would my character know any safe methods for sorcerer's power to come out without causing much harm, such as knowing the blood type they have and necessary people and circumstance for such power to come out in such manner?
Uh, in that kind of situation, usually you're looking at putting the sorcerer to be like if you were to identify someone who may or may not manifest a gift like that, and like essentially sending them off to private school where they could learn to study their gifts. And in that case you're looking at like an imperial sorcerer, or more likely a wizard or an arcanist, somebody who has that gift but learns to manifest it another way.
Mm. Yeah,
By that notion also, through the power of things like music and the performing arts, some have been known to tap into the spiritual and express it. It also could come from that, as well as a myriad of other ways that spellcasting can express itself. As far as like a true sorcerer goes, you assume that Most of the time, it has to happen violently. It usually happens around puberty, around the time that that bloodline begins to like assert itself in the humanoid's development. So as far as
Xandu.
harnessing it goes, the best you're looking at is probably, other than those two, like I just said, it's more like Imagine 11 from Stranger Things, that kind of thing. You could definitely put her in a cage and make it come out. Side effects may include a messed up kid and a very dead place from where the power manifests.
Artorias wouldn't do that. Xandu, I believe the best way for any power to come through is through the arts. You should continue this, definitely.
That sounds about right. But I will say that much of the power of everyone here is, yourself aside, Artorias, is connected to my own. So,
Old Xandu nods. A lot of people
uh,
have begun to listen in. A small circle of onlookers has formed around you. Again, if Xandu locks eyes with any of them for too long, they salute and begin to like go into that await orders stance.
um,
That wagon goes, or the wagon, that wheelbarrow goes by again with some strange child in the big hat. Just yeah.
Mm,
um, Xandu will look at um, I suppose, older Xandu. Uh, is there anything that information you have or some of your experience that you could share with me?
That is a wonderful question. My experiences are your experiences, son. Unless you want me to sit on the corner and shout "wheel" or "whoa" at the top of my lungs. That's what I have.
Do you suppose that's fair? Um, Although, perhaps somewhere deep in my subconscious, there's a bit of memory that I can't quite pull out that perhaps you could. Um, for example, do you know whatever made her so attached to the original seer, I should say?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't there. But I assume she was attached because she saw something vulnerable like she was. And in a world where all of your friends are killed or enslaved every day, you don't really get to be a child, you know? And when you see someone like who I am based on, perhaps that was the only person who would listen if he, I, we, if we were even capable of listening.
Hmm.
Again, I am but a creation.
Aren't we all?
He kind of like looks sidelong at Artorias, being literally the only person here who's not a thought form. Well, you're not anymore. Thought form creature or former thought form creature.
Xandu, I
Um,
have a idea.
well, uh, hold that thought one moment. Uh, Even Artorias is, in a way, the creation of the gods.
This is true.
Hmm, the gods made us humanoids. The I can't remember the exact lore, but I know one of the elves made the elf race.
But
Mm,
of course, you guys have realized now that all of the creation and destruction myths have been just almost like a shared hallucination. People break apart the stories differently, and where the stories come close or like coincide, a different visage of primal good or primal evil appears, and that's where the deities that you all know come from. Like technically, there's not an Abadar or a Desna, just a bunch of people who preferred good over evil and liked travel and the stars and seeing the world and adventure and stuff. And their shared thoughts formed that aspect by the same notion. Those out there who favored commerce and trade and amassing personal wealth and the proliferation of civilization, the cutting back of wild places to build other cities, those come together, and so Abadar was born.
all of us, we are creation of the gods in one way or another. Mm, Zandu, this is a
Yes?
risky proposition if we do go through. But if you go unconscious and we do take the necessary steps, me and the rest of the party, we could go through your mind if we can make a portal into it to learn what secrets or or memories that are we repress in your mind so you can know these things.
Perhaps, but perhaps there are some things that are better left unknown.
True, this is a
As
sort
curious
only.
as I am.
This is a sort only. I don't really like to budge into people personal business, as I had to do that on a job on a regular catching criminals. I don't really like investigating people businesses that I shouldn't have. But a job is a job. I had to do.
Yeah, some people think that way.
Mm. Personally, I prefer to leave individuals be, but when orders comes from the top down to do something, you do them. Your personal feelings, the top people don't really care about as they ask for results. And so I do such, but at a great emotional distress at times, knowing these people mean good most of the time.
You know, I'm not really sure whether you sound more Chelish or more Teldane right now.
Mm. It is a combination of both. I'm originally from Israel, and I did pick up the accent of Chilish and Haldor. I spent enough time in those two regions to pick up the two.
Eh, I more
So
meant your
so we
philosophy, but that
so
aside.
so so real life picture the accent of someone that been to two countries long enough to actually speak both fluently well enough. Mm, uh,
He means
if
in
you try,
terms of philosophy, not in terms of accent.
oh. Mm. Yeah, when you do venture with people enough, you do pick up their philosophy, their mindset, whether you like it or not.
Well, perhaps you'll learn something from me.
True, and you may learn something from me as well. People do have that habit of passing good and bad traits on.
Hopefully, more the good than the bad.
It's true. I prefer to do as much good and pass on good things. There are too much bad things in this world that I don't like to spread.
All right, I do suppose we should, at this point, gather more intel on our next location.
True,
See what's going on there now.
As much as I like this warm, heart-to-heart, touchy feeling, we should get down to business, as one of my commandos once say. We are wasting valuable moonlight hours.
Of course. Remember,
Perhaps so.
Zandu,
Time is a little bit wibbly wobbly.
call on us if you need us, Zandu. We will be waiting. And he turns and he begins walking down the street. His walking stick straightens back up to quarterstaff. The pyramid sets itself down.
All right, back through the gate we go.
Okay. Nothing's really changed back in the hall.
So the intel we need to get. Let's begin asking the people who would know the most about the location. So
The
you,
gods?
mm, the guards would be a good source to go to first, as they would know more about the situation at hand.
Okay. They're
Sounds
definitely
good.
both sitting on their two thrones.
Mm.
I am so bad at geography, and I forgot the name of that marker already.
Mhm.
Which one?
Yeah,
The one right on the peninsula of the Holy Chalish Empire.
That's
that would
the Arc of Eridan.
Arc of Eridan.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have a hard time with like regular U.S. geography, let alone fantasy setting geography.
That's fair. Yeah.
fantasy geography, it can get pretty messed up, especially how it works mechanically as well.
So the Arc of
Yeah.
Eridan, it's like I call it like between Spain and North Africa, but it's not a landmass. It's an actual arch that's hundreds of feet high, 15 miles long, that stretches across like the southwest of Cheliax to Garund. Both ends of it are parts of the Holy Chelish Empire, though like it's been heavily fortified, and because of that, at least before the world started ending, the Chelish effectively regulated all trade and naval traffic through the western part of the inner sea, because they just stationed troops on top of that bridge and they'd shoot down cannon fire at ships till ships die horribly. It's partially ruined, but where they can't reconstruct the Aslanti the Aslanti architecture and stuff, things like permanent walls of force have been put in, so people can still well and truly traverse the thing.
Nice. So both of us go to the gods, and I would begin to talking to Abadar and use the proper titles after speaking to him, making the introduction. Abadar, me and Zandu, we have some questions about the events happening around the Arc of Erodan.
Okay.
Can you inform us what is happening there currently?
Yes, I think. Yeah, sure. So both of you kind of like white out for a second, and then you find yourselves floating over the arc rather. The arc is an arch. It's strange, but you guys see the wreck of several ships, both like Chelish man o' war and Ulfin longboat alike. It's pretty quiet. The waves lap up against the ships and push them into the shores of southwestern Cheliax or up against the Ark itself. Bodies float in the river.
I recognize those boats. Can I make out what type of boats they are, at least for a classification of ship?
As I said, Chelish man o' war, Ulfin longboat.
Mm.
Both sides.
Was there a definite victor, or could we tell who won?
It's hard to say. There's a lot of lot of ships down on both sides. A lot of flotsam and jetsam has mixed together, so it's hard to pick apart one side from the other.
What were the events leading up to this fight?
As you know, the Ulfin had put together an armada and they were sailing down through the Arc of Eredin, presumably to attack the Chelish. It's been a long history with them of either forced servitude through slavery or the Ulfin to both empires selling themselves for gold because like they make real good money protecting some noblemen. Now it seems to be a different story. You know that the Ulfin end of the world is, they call it Ragnarok, and some of the events around MacLeod definitely felt like the wolf from their stories. Where they are now, assuming they weren't just routed, remains to be seen. They very well could have been routed without your guys' help. There are many tasks, and unfortunately, you guys can't be in now 8 places at once. So every place you choose, it kind of sinks in as you guys see the sinking ruins. That wherever you choose to go next, the other sides will suffer for it.
So seeing this scene with Artorius' knowledge, could he guess the mission we are on is to end the conflict or have some type of revolution of some kind between the Alphen and the Shittish Holy Empire
It's
in this
possible. It seems you may have
region?
missed that chance, though.
What is it that you would want us to do here at this moment?
No one replies.
If we can't do much here, let's look elsewhere. We can do some good.
Now, you assume there's still something you could do here. It's just not being readily shown to you.
Maybe we can find survivors, and more information will be made available. What we need to do, looking at it from a bigger picture.
Makes sense.
Now, what is that last one like directly across from Kadira?
Directly across from Kadira, like straight to the east or the west of it.
Yes.
That is that's the Assyrian capital of Sothis. That's essentially Alexandria, just in Galarian. It's one of the known resting places of one of the spawn of Rovagug, known as Ulinat, which is essentially just like a giant scarab beetle that it was never really slain so much as like much in the ways that the children of Rovagug are known to do. They just are defeated and then pass out, and it's in a desert, and then there's a giant beetle shell which creates a lot of shade, and the first buildings built around that so long ago eventually became the capital of Osirion. Present day, you guys know that a necromancer in Geb, in the wake of all the bad things that have been happening, he's been unchecked, unchallenged, slaughtering his way across Garund.
If to the Arc of Eredin and go to Osirion, we may learn more about what the Rat Lich is doing in the regions there.
There's definitely a lot of things he could be doing. Society checks are good for this. Occultism checks, honestly, are super good as well.
I will do
religion.
Society.
Okay, sure.
$27.
Okay, so Osirion is one of the oldest nations on Galarian. It's certainly not like in recent years. It's fallen very, very far from its former glory in the Age of Legends thousands of years ago. There was a time when the Kellish had their eyes. I always get that in Kellids backwards. Had their I have like their thoughts set on expanding into it. It's they ended up getting too busy with Taldor's expansion and they lost Kadira and thus their sights on anything this far west. A lot of like false claimants to the Ruby Prince's throne. Well, not the Ruby Prince anymore. You assume he's been deposed, but the Ruby Prince a little while ago has thrown lots of descendants of pharaohs and descendants of pharaohs, etc. Lots of things have changed hands there. But it's also, again, it's one of the oldest nations in the world.
There was a lot of dead buried, or a lot of dead buried there, right?
That's a fair assessment. There's probably a lot of dead buried everywhere in Galarian.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking Osirian alone.
Society won't give you like specific things, but
Well, I would imagine if it's one of the oldest societies in the world,
well,
it would have some of the
society role would give
bodies.
you a society role would give you that like maybe you don't know the finer points of mummification, but like it's there. There's definitely several very grand, expansive, what are essentially mausoleums for dead important people. It's like there's a reason there's a lot of powerful necromancers in Garund, and mummification is one of them.
Is it a safe assumption to say there are a lot of tombs not open yet with undead in them that haven't awakened yet?
Probably not anymore if a necromancer's come through, especially a really powerful one. It's probably been just a systematic plague moving across the desert. Things pop open, things are animated under his control, things are brought to heal, etc., etc.
Xandu will just ask to see what would be going on there right now for an idea.
Okay, so you both white out again. You end up in Sothis. The city is a ruin. And again, it's one of the most vast, expansive, heavily populated cities in Galarian. Certainly the most populated city in Garund. But it's just sand has blown in through the walls of buildings, roofs have collapsed. It looks like the whole place has been attacked. The city's a ruin.
Now, there was something weird going on in that forest.
Yeah.
Just on the border of Taldor and the Holy Chelish Empire.
Yeah, there was. You guys are whisked there as you think of it, and you see a giant tree. A tree bigger than the biggest fortress you've ever seen in your entire life. And at its roots, a passage leads down, not unlike like a rabbit's warren, how it digs down, but it's big enough for humanoids to move through, and several humanoids are being escorted by leshies of all shapes and sizes, as well as the druids that walk with them. It's snowing there, it's cold there. Even though you're not physically there, you can feel the chill on you.
Wasn't the Collisionist Order just there last time?
You don't see them now. Now you see people just walking in under this tree with perplexed and hopeful looks on their faces as druids and leshies lead them in.
We should. I think the best lead we have is going to the woods there.
Well, we still have a few other places to look at, so...
That you do.
And so we checked the Osirian out, the Arch out, the woods, and then...
Is the Arch of Eridan, not the Ark of Eridan. Oops.
And then there was one more location. So which of these swords in the Holy Church Empire is Sandpoint.
The ones that are gone are the ones that are at Corvosa, which is by just to the left of which leaves
Okay.
just the Arch of Eridan. I've been saying that wrong for so long, and Igorian, the capital.
What is
What's
going on?
Arcadian?
What is going on at the capital?
Okay, so you guys are whisked there, and you find yourselves. It's a little more intimate for, well, not intimate, it's a little more familiar, rather, for Artorias than for Xandu. The city stands under a barrier, not unlike what you saw in Corvosa. It's snowing, but the city's unaffected, and life in Igorian seems to be moving on pretty normally. Wanted posters for lots of people in the rebellion, and you guys as well now. Like, specifically, there's a Xandu who's a thought form creature, and a Xandu who's a celestial. Posted all over the place. Hell Knights in service to Sarenrae, who you assume are pawns of the Colliginous Order, move around. A lot of open conscription is taking place. It just kind of looks like the belly of the beast, I guess is the best way to describe this. You see the current emperor, Procus LaCroix, is still alive and well. He looks pretty haggard. There are two men standing behind him, on behind left, behind right, and Xandu recognizes one of them as the adjutor from his trial, or so he thought, so long ago. Both of them have their hands on the hilts of rapiers, just kind of like drumming them idly, surveying a crowd of assembled peasants and the like as the emperor addresses them. They both look extremely bored and have that look not even like wolves among sheep, like wolves among rats. Just a disdain. Could not look farther down their nose if they were doing this. The other one looks close enough to Adjutor Gala that it could be his brother. He's dressed a little better, whereas Gala is just in plate mail with like a purple cape behind him. This other man, who appears to be perhaps 10, 15 years older, has a very, very, almost like, and some people won't understand this, but almost like Mazus-like robe over his full plate. That is to say, like a very poofy, frilly cape that kind of vests out forward. He too has a rapier at his hip, and he just kind of drums at it, looking around, scowling at everyone. The Emperor, like I said, looks haggard, but the people don't seem to notice it. And you guys also... yes. Nope, I'm not yelling at you about your mic. I didn't mean to do that, dog. The first time I did. This time I didn't. I needed dice. Man, the percentage dice don't like you guys today. I am a generous Tommy. You also, your eyes are drawn to a little shop off the main drag of the main square outside the palace in Igorian that looks really, 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 really run down. The sign out front hangs on one hinge, the other one's long broken off, and it just kind of swings idly in the wind, and you get just a little catch of the sign before the other hinge well and truly gives way, and there's a picture of a little blue kobold.
Oh,
and it swings,
nice.
And as it swings, this hinge finally gives out, and it falls back on its back with a loud slap on the ground that no one seems to hear. Over the sounds of cheers as the Emperor raises both his hands, his scepter in this hand, and everyone just kind of eats up whatever it is he's saying. Except for the two right behind him who just look pissed.
A question. The blue kobold sign, did it fail and hurt anyone?
Yes, a necromancer just died.
Okay, I remember Lucia getting hit by it.
That was good times. That was the most clickbaity title I ever had for a session of Lord of the Caliber. Someone dies! I'm desperate for views! I still am! No, I'm not. We're good. But like and subscribe for more videos.
So, let's check the other one in Taldor.
Okay, so in Taldor you've got both their capital of Oppara as well as Casimir, and there's one just smack in the middle of the Verduran forest.
Let's check the Verduran forest.
Okay, so you guys are just whisked there again in snowy forest. Not a lot of things moving. Probably a little surreal for Xandu, as this is the place where he lost his life so long ago. You guys are
That wasn't
taken
even that long ago.
so long ago.
That was
but
like 2 days ago.
yeah, fair. So long ago. 2 days ago. It's been a long 2 days. Time is wibbly wobbly in the Dimension of Dreams. Anyway, you guys are whisked over the forest, and once you reach about its heart, you come upon a very, very, very large slave camp where most of the humanoids here just look really, really malnourished and sad. They seem to be like cutting down wood, but for no purpose. They're just working literally for the sake of work. Xandu definitely would recognize it. Artorias would too. It's very common within the Empire to have Arcadian slaves, and that's the ethnicity here. The reddish skin, the black straight hair, the dark eyes clearly marks all of these people as Arcadian slaves that have been transplanted from Arcadia to the Inner Sea. And this seems to be, it's probably not all of them, but it's a logical conclusion based on how many of them there are, because there well and truly are just a lot of them here, that this may well be where most of the wives and children and general non-combatants of the Arcadian slave force are being held. It dawns on Xandu that had they persevered through the forest, had they not doubled back to Qadira, it's entirely possible, so long ago, 2 days ago, that his old group and himself could have possibly freed these slaves, and in doing so, he would have had something to bring back to Mercutio and the rebellion, some kind of proof of, like, I'm sorry we were gone for so long doing whatever. Oh, by the way, all the Arcadians are free now. It also dawns on you, seeing this, that by now, there's no reason the Black Dragon Ularix couldn't have made it back to the Witch Bowl in southern Kyanin, along with the druids that are supposed to have attempted to stop this. Because so long ago, when you did travel here for the first time, you did travel in the company of a Black Dragon and his lizard folk soldiers who were dying in the cold.
I remember that.
They were going to join the rebellion and help you guys on the condition that the Green Faith would stop the snows. That seems to not have happened.
So the other two, let's check Casimir out.
Okay. And whoosh, off to Casimir you go. Casimir is a snow-covered, terrible, horrible place to be. It looks not unlike last time Xandu was there. People are struggling to survive, huddled up next to Serenite crosses where undesirables have been crucified, and their blood from the crucifixion is what powers the ability of that crucifix to put off heat, and so the people have to be close to it to survive. Hell Knights continue to patrol the streets, but it's not in as great a numbers as before. In addition, they are joined by several roguish types, as if like the Thieves Guild of Casimir seems to have allied itself with the Chelish. They patrol around alongside them when undesirables throw themselves at the mercy of the Hell Knights and beg for forgiveness. It's not necessarily a gauntleted fist that backhands or like an Arcadian slave that's finger snap point and they pounce and kill him. But these rakish types just draw dagger, throw dagger, continue to move forward.
The last point?
The last point is there is one more point. It's not on the map. It's farther to the east at the Pit of Gormuz. It's just that's not on the map of the Inner Sea, so meh. But going to Oppara, it doesn't look unlike what Agorian looked like. Just replace the Emperor of the Holy Chelish Empire with Stavian III. Instead of giving lavish speeches, though, he sits on a throne of lies. No, he sits on an opulent, decadent, solid platinum throne with his feet up, surrounded by piles of wealth of all kinds that you can imagine: money, women, food, wine, excess is what I'm getting at here, basically. At his side, well, no, we're past that at this point. It's just him. Just feet up, reveling, and you see, like, as you're brought here, his crown tips forward just a little, and as it does so, a very haggard-looking tiefling man appears under the crown. Like, a wicked smile crosses his face, and just, oh, well, this won't do. Takes scepter, pushes crown back, becomes the emperor. You realize certainly that that is a greater hat of disguise. This may provide a little insight for you guys as to why stewardship of the Empire changed so quickly. You can assume that the Collisionist Order had a hand in it.
My seeing all the marks now, I'm thinking going to the Verduran.
There's one last one.
There is one more,
Pit of
remember.
Gormuz.
The Pit of
one more.
Gormuz. It's very, very far to the east. It's in central Casmaron, which is way off the map this direction. And by this direction, I mean way off to the east. I guess I should be a little more clear than just that way. Well, that's accurate. I'm definitely pointing the correct way on my OBS overlay, just right over there.
But in Google Hangouts, you're pointing the wrong way.
Mirrors are funny, and I don't understand them. Anywho, that is the only place you guys haven't explored yet.
Let's see what is going on there, then make our decision.
Okay, so you guys flash over there. Xandu knows that this is, well, Artorias would too. You just know from the other side that it wasn't long after the Chelish converted to Sarenrae that they put out an open declaration to the members of the Khadiran Resistance that were members of the Cult of the Dawnflower, that if they would turn side as well, their sins would be forgiven and they'd be welcomed back into the fold. And the Cult of the Dawnflower doesn't always have, at least in the eyes of like a true Sarenite believer, Sarenrae's best interests at heart, whereas Sarenrae is very big on mercy and forgiveness and take care of your fellow man and stuff like that. The Cult of the Dawnflower is just one chance. You don't want it? Okay. Very dead. Goodbye. And in the wake of that happening, as Xandu was in Kathir at the time, there were several suicides, there were several militant attacks on civilians by Sarenites losing their minds, that the antithesis of their goddess would convert to their goddess, act like the antithesis of their goddess, but would get power from seemingly their goddess. And one of the earliest things that happened in the revolution was that faith got tested pretty hard. In response to this, the leader of the Cult of the Dawnflower, a redeemed Ifrit by the name of Mustafa al-Nar, took his followers to the Pit of Gormuz where they could vent their anger and their frustration and their inability to cope with the situation on something we all hate, the spawn of Rovagug. And it appears that they have. It looks not unlike the World Wound. Military camps are set up all over the place. But you notice several Sarenite crosses, not unlike what you've seen all over the place everywhere else. It's not humanoids that hang from them. It's demons, it's Clippeth, it's creatures that have crawled forth from the pit. There's not snow on the ground here, but it looks pretty cold, and it seems that those are putting off light and warmth as well. In the center of, like, basically just a vast military camp, a church has been constructed, and you guys are whisked in there. And a man stands there in very ornate red and yellow and orange robes, not unlike the rising sun, complete with like giant pope hat with rising sun and staff with rising sun, who clearly is not Mustafa al-Nar. He looks like a Chelish man. A sermon is being held. You guys can't make out what he's saying, but it's very fervent, and people seem to be eating it up. You, Xandu, recognize some of the faces as members of the Cult of the Dawnflower from Qadira, and they seem to have flipped over entirely.
Zandu, I believe we should go to the pit of Garmuz. I believe we can do the most good there. With us doing the mission there, I believe the effects we have done there will trickle through to the other to give us a bit of an advantage later on.
Well, I don't know about that giving us an advantage, but it certainly eliminates several disadvantages later on.
If we can deal with the false deal with the Serenite problem down there, that may have a blowback elsewhere to help us potentially elsewhere.
And you guys do also know the Pit of Gormuz, where by and large it is believed that that's Rovagug's prison on Galarian. You have been informed since that is Serenay's prison on Galarian, but the living populace of the world doesn't know that. Again, every culture pretty much has their own idea of how the world's going to end. The most common one on Galarian is that Rovagug will emerge from this place.
Then another option for advantages would be the capital of Taldor is obviously the ruler has accumulated a lot of wealth and is not really using it to help any part of his nation. Is more so hogging it.
Very, very, very true. Abadar would not be happy with this. We should do something at the capital there so we can use it to help the people and our cause.
If we can help the people there, that also has a good chance of spreading. Even helping with the Arcadian slave camp later.
Very, very true.
And
if we're going to be having
sort of a central location to all of the other points on the map, so if we want an effect to spread outward, that would be a good place to start.
Good idea. I definitely like the way how you think. So
but I do hope that the effects at the Pit of Gormuz, it doesn't get too bad while we're there.
Let's deal with the capital's issue first and keep an eye on the pit to see how worse things get from that point on and change our plan as need be.
Okay.
So the agreed consensus is to go to the capital then?
Between the two of us and nobody else being here?
Yep.
Yes.
You guys have all the agency.
Time to go to the capital and go on a king assassination mission and play the Witcher effectively.
You have 3 hours. Assassinate the Emperor. That was a damn good one shot. That was probably my best one shot that I've ever done, was here.
Very true.
Anywho, before you guys go, as you feel yourselves like whoosh over here and you're looking around and you begin to manifest a little more fully in the place. A couple more things for Xandu's star scarf that I had dreamed up and I didn't know how to hand them out in the story, so I'll just do it now. Is more stuff for Xandu. The first thing is, when you're not using the star scarf at rest, it appears to be just a star knife that's missing the one point of the star. So I guess more like just a really messed up guitar with 2 points coming out at 90-degree angles, and the scarf comes out and it wraps like around your waist or around your arm, wherever it is you want to wear it. But it's a free action with the trigger initiative is rolled. That's when it becomes a great axe. When you get combative, it snaps into place as what it is. And the second effect is it does serve. I need to look up the word because I'll butcher it. Maybe I can say it correctly if I'm reading it. Maybe. Kape. And damn you, Pathfinder Wiki. I'll look it up on Google. Oh man, that's a lot of different things. I need to put Pathfinder at the end of it. Maybe that's correct. Not Katana Pathfinder. Not Bladed Scarf Dancer. I mean, that's essentially what you are. Oh god, I don't remember what it's called. I'm gonna type in Verizian Scarf. There we go. So doop-a-doo. I'm just getting the flavor text right. It won't take long. There it is. So this does function as Xandu's Capedia. It traces his lineage. Well, he doesn't really have a mother and father, but he traces it like back to Emmy, and it goes back as far as the family knowledge stretches. But a lot of that is just Xandu's knowledge, and as you guys look at it, the complex loops and whorls do form, not unlike hieroglyphics, I suppose, images of essentially the campaign up to this point. Xandu it also functions as a mindscape. Xandu he can take the party with him by activating it, essentially, the store, and it becomes like a mindscape door. And it allows you to go back to any point that Xandu has seen in Lordly Caliber thus far, to talk to an NPC, to talk to a former party member, to get information you may have missed, etc., etc. Another way to say that is it allows Xandu to watch YouTube videos, because that's more or less what Xandu would get. Anything Xandu is present for, Xandu can see, but that's neither here nor there. Boots on the ground on Oppara, make perception checks.
Gonna make me roll dice today.
20. It would be 25. 24. Having master in perception and high proficiency is quite nice.
Yeah. Donald, you did
That
get
is a 25 for me.
You guys did both get that signature skills are no longer a thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Because that changes, especially the rogue, with as many skill points as it gets. It changes a lot of things for a lot of people's builds. Anywho, you guys are just kind of in the blink of an eye, dumped into another back alley in the city of Oppara. Contrary to what you saw in Corvosa, the city is loud and bustling. It's pretty clear that trade is still happening here. It's pretty clear that the city seems to function just as it did before the apocalypse started. You're in a back alley, so no one notices you, but it's a lot more clear this time than it was in Corvosa. Step out into the streets and somebody's going to see you and realize you're a Celestial. Also, you're wanted enemies of the state.
Well, it's a good thing I have had a greater disguise, not a wanted poster on me, and being a Hell Knight, so I can at least use that to my advantage.
Now remember, you are a Hell Knight, but you are not a member of the good Hell Knights. Now, you are just as bad a person as Xandu is.
True.
Maybe not as infamous, but just as bad.
They will kill you again if they find you.
I mean, worst case scenario, I can always take my Hell Knight robes and put normal clothing on to pass off as a normal...
Giant wings on your back becomes the issue there.
If I remember, how to greater disguise, can that hide the wings?
Yeah, it'll change your typing and stuff around. It should hide your clothes too.
Yep, so with the hat of disguise, I can easily change into another humanoid race to hide my wings in normal commoner clothing.
Yep, you certainly could.
Xandu has one as well.
Okay. So you both activate your hats and step out onto the street.
Correct.
Okay.
Xandu is leery of posters still.
Okay.
Do you want me to make sure the way is clear? I do worry about the posters.
I gotta look at my spells. I forgot. I can't have that. That's an uncommon spell. I gotta ask somebody about that.
Uh,
Which spell is
I-
that?
A non-detection.
I see.
It's an uncommon spell, so it's not something I can just get randomly.
If I remember, non-detection and those type of spells, they I could have could I could learn them with my background, right?
You could not. Yeah. You
We were just in the afterlife. We probably could have asked a god about it.
That is very true, but per your background, no, an uncommon or rare spell is something that, in a mechanical sense, you need someone other than just, oh, I've leveled, I know this now, to be able to add it to your spell list.
It's too late to say we know that.
That is correct.
Yeah, we stepped in just a little too early.
Oh, you know, you're just a little too late.
Yeah, I don't have anything that can help with that spell wise.
Okay.
Do we know where we are exactly? Would you assume Artori's been to this city before?
Nope. No, I wouldn't.
Xandu will let Artorius step out first to see if there's any posters.
Do I perceive any posters?
You do make a will save. So you step out into the city. The first thing you see as you cross out from this back alley into the main thoroughfare of Oppara is that everyone on the streets is having a very good time. Lots of eating and drinking and carousing and all of the 7 deadly sins rolled together into just everyone doing whatever the hell they please. And then you turn the corner and there's a wanted poster with your face and the black wings the black metallic wings that sprout from your back, and you get drawn a little too close to it, and you stare at it and you blink, but you're able to shake it off and nothing happens. Well, actually, before I just say that nothing happened, let me see if Symbol of Persuasion is a spell now, because that seems like a spell that would have effects even on a critical or even on a regular success. Are there any symbol spells in this game? Celestial Brand, Dazzling Flash.
You could look for just regular persuasion.
Moonlight Glow. Yeah, I think I'd have to. I can just go to the P's. Swing. That's the F's. I need the P's. There we go. Let's see if we have anything we can use here. Phantom Pain, Phantom
Pushing Gust, Purple Worm Sting, Purify Food and Drink, Punishing Winds, and that's all the...
Looks like no. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. In that case, you shake it off.
I would go back to Xandu feeling a bit uncomfortable seeing what would be a Urgasawa party going on effectively.
Urgatho is a bit of a stretch. More of... Well... No, Urgatho is not too much of a stretch. There's no necromancy, there's no undead, but everything but lots of excess, people eating and drinking and doing naughty things to each other just in the middle of the streets.
Interesting. This would definitely give Artorius a uncomfortable feeling, all this going on.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Xandu, there are definitely posters along the main streets. If we're going to be getting anywhere, we need to take the back streets and side streets.
That seems to track.
So if we're going to kill the king, we know he is in the palace, right?
You don't know that necessarily. You know that's where you saw him when you were, like when you saw visions and stuff. And of course, that's less king and more emperor. But like that tracks. That's probably where he is.
So if he's in the palace and he rests in it, so it's a matter of time before we can, quote unquote, assassinate him, which is feel odd for a good guy to assassinate someone.
It's a thought.
Mm.
You're not entirely sure what it is you're doing here. You know that the Emperor of Taldor is not who he seems to be. You assume he's a puppet of Cheliax. It kind of seems like he's just there for the money and the food and the wine and the whatever the hell he wants. Happy to just. He's kind of like Nero at this point. He's playing his fiddle while his empire freezes to death. It also is pretty. No, there are crosses here as well. People that didn't want to partake in the party, you can tell because they're considerably skinnier than a lot of people. They look a little more sober, though that may be because they're nailed. The crosses generate a barrier over the city. God, I'm the worst person. And that prevents the snow from getting in. Oh.
Zandu, I believe the two objectives in the city here is we have to remove the puppet king and deal with the Hell Knight order in some means. So I'm thinking the king is one of the easiest thing to do if we can actually sneak into the palace and wait for the right opportunity to kill the king when he's by himself, or at least have the least amount of guards with him at any given moment.
Perhaps we should not be talking about this so openly, even in a back alley.
Is anyone in the alleyway?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's so. I rolled a 69, and I was gonna say if I rolled a little too high, I was like, yes, but they're too busy with each other right now to notice you. And then I rolled a 69 on the percentage dice. So yeah, that's canon. Yes, there are several people in the alley. They haven't noticed you. They are clearly under the influence of some kind of powerful drug and just going at each other.
Good. This is the only time that I'm actually glad that the intoxication have actual effects.
Both of you actually make perception checks again, would you? I promise this won't be creepy. I know we're leading from creepy to perception check. Don't natural one, then it will be creepy.
30. I perceive a lot.
Yeah, you do. A little too much.
Oh gosh, math. Now I have to math.
Can't math.
Brain. 33.
Okay, so both of you.
And I just closed roll 20. Crap.
Well done. Both of you, as you notice this kind of both at the same time, like you're looking at each other like, we should be quiet. And then you hear the sound of somebody being less than quiet. And you look down and there they are. You hear, amidst that, the sounds of some kind of creature roaring. Followed by like the general oohs and ahs of the people at large. It dawns on you that you're probably not that far from Oppara's zoo. Of all the places where wanted posters would be, a place like that maybe a little safer-ish, if for no other reason than because there's not enough like surface area to put posters on.
A question: does the city have a sewer system of any kind?
Yes.
Okay, so my idea is we can take the sewers, and the sewers, one of the grates should be close to the palace, and we can sneak through the sewers to get close to the palace without risking seeing the posters and any unpleasant sights that we don't want to see.
That's fair. You assume if the sewers aren't guarded, they've become home for various ne'er-do-wells who may or may not be working for the Chelish.
I'd rather deal with the ne'er-do-wells in the sewers than take the risk on the surface.
That's fair.
Well, I'm curious as to what that roar was.
Can I make
I'm trying to think what kind of roll I would make to figure out to like recognize
Nature.
it.
Definitely nature.
Nature?
Unless either one of you
Typical.
has and lore Great Old Ones and lore Hell Knight both aren't going to get the proper lore for what we want here.
Lore
Wait,
warfare.
Wait,
No
lore-
soldier background, that won't work either.
Lore Hell Knight?
No, not at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
It'd just be a straight up
nature
nature roll.
33
Boom!
and 20.
Killing it. Okay, so
I'm not even gonna roll at this point.
that's probably safe. Okay, so Artorias, as he hears the roar, he recalls bits and pieces of his childhood as he's brought to zoos all across Cheliax, specifically in like Corentin and Egorian and West Crown and the bigger cities in the region, and it's not uncommon. In fact, people are paid pretty hefty to go south into the Mwangi Expanse, to go where else do these exist? I think pretty much entirely south. Places like Sargava, the Mwangi Expanse, Mediagalti Island, and bring back dinosaurs, because they well and truly do exist on Galarian. And I'm saying it like Adam does. Galarian is how you pronounce that. Well, I've said Galarian
Also,
for so
north.
long. North where?
Very far north. Oh my gosh, I need the map. But it's like north of Varisia, past the
Oh,
mountain.
you mean the realm of the Mammoth Lords, where the Kelids live.
Yes.
That's mostly megafauna, and most of them live in, like, underground Skyrim caves, is the best way, I think, to put it. They kind of, like, go down and it's the land of the lost. But regardless, Artorias definitively 100% recognizes the sound of a full-grown male Tyrannosaur. The roar probably indicates that it's hunting, and the oohs and ahs probably indicate that it's being fed. It's not uncommon in Cheliax. It was pretty common for undesirables, slaves who couldn't work anymore, traitors to the Empire, things of that nature, to be, as open spectacle, fed to these gigantic, truly gigantic beasts. And in a world, or at least a city, where the whole place is given way to hedonistic passions, you can only speculate at what the mob is feeding this thing.
Emmy, we should go to the sewers. I don't want to take the risk going through the zoo, knowing what hedonistic things people would do in that part of the city.
Well, perhaps there's somebody there we should save. Maybe that's why we're here.
Let's check it out first and see. If not, go into the sewers.
Okay, very good. You guys begin heading in the direction of the zoo, and it's not far. You have to, since you're using hats of disguise, you have to hop the fence to get over in there. As you do so, you know what actually would be fun? Let's see if the percentage dice are super with you, because that will determine, I think. Yes. Okay, so you begin heading in that direction, and there's a barrier. Not like, we use that word in Lordly Caliber a lot to mean like anti-magic fields. What I mean is just a fence. You guys have to hop it, and you do so. As you do so, you find yourselves in... And most of our encounters are going to be Theater of the Mind, I think, to work on my Theater of the Mind foo in Lordly Caliber. You find yourselves just kind of suddenly out of nowhere in a clearing in the jungle. A river cuts through the middle. It's suddenly very hot and humid, and a pair of tyrannosaurs, both are gorging on... It kind of just looks like a super mutant gore bag a la Fallout that's been thrown in bits and pieces of dogs and humans and cats and elves and other humanoids as well, all just kind of thrown in these bags, and the creatures tear it apart. The smell of rotting meat is pretty strong, and it's not long before these tyrannosaurs both raise their heads up, and they scent the air, and they see you, and they both turn towards you. And an important part of the Pathfinder playtest to me, it turns out, is to make sure the Tyrannosaur is a valid mid-level encounter because it wasn't in first edition. That's why we're doing this. Roll initiative.
Do you mean perception?
I mean initiative. You know what I mean. It's awkward. This is a strange meta, but I like it. I like rolling. They're gonna roll. Yeah, they're gonna roll athletics.
Perception?
Yep, I see it. Plus, I had.
Oh, that wasn't good.
So we got
It feels.
Artie at a 21, 30, 36, 20. Oof. T. I'm gonna put it as T-Rex. Not unlike one of Jax's fatalities from Mortal Kombat 10. T-Rex.
Initiative. It feels odd rolling, not based on your dexterity modifier.
Yeah, it's you definitely got to find a way to play to your strengths. Just a lot of the time when you're playing the Pathfinder playtest to make sure it is that you're rolling what you need to roll to function. For example, I wanted these guys to smell at you and immediately start just bull rushing you. So, well, not mechanically, just running at you to eat your faces, and thus they're rolling at athletics. And then, Xandu's leading back of the pack with a 20. Artie's got a 21. And it's going to be me first. Okay, so both of these T-Rexes, we'll start with...
Crap, I got a level still.
Oh, you got to work on it. They're coming for you. They come fast. Now we'll also see how easy it is to level mid-combat on the fly in the Pathfinder playtest. Anywho,
Yeah.
as the first one, it doesn't take long. It's really only about like 30 feet from you, so it doesn't even take it a full stride to get adjacent to both of you. As that happens, would both of you please make acrobatics checks?
Acrobatics. That is something
Because
I'm actually
as it
quite good at.
Yeah, Rogue, you better be. As it gets really close to you, as this thing just charges up, its feet, Artorias passes, its feet shake the ground, and you guys suddenly realize, like, the ground on which you're standing is not the safest. You also notice that several people are outside, like a semicircle, with the back of the circle in, like, a D shape, being where you crawled in from. They see you, they ooh and ah and clap and drink and have a good time. What's Xandu got on that save?
29.
All right, both of you pass. Neither of you fall prone. That's real sweet. What can I do next? I have 2 actions left. I could have trampled you. Oh well. I think I'm gonna bite. I'm not smart. I am an animal. I'm gonna bite Artorias because his character sheet's ready. Attacking Artorias, 28 to hit.
Miss.
Boo. Attacking Xandu, 20 to hit.
Yeah.
That hits?
I don't know what armor I got right now.
Fair. Well, it's at least...
So, yeah.
It's at least 21.
Yeah, it is 21 at a minimum.
Because you're adding your level less
is it?
proficiency. Yeah. It's 10 plus 11,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So it definitely misses. Then we go from
is-
T-Rex to
it's-
T-Rex.
It's 21 plus dex plus your armor type and any enchantments you have.
Which is
Yeah, I was
actively buying.
Definitely gonna grab braces of armor, but I just don't have them in my sheet yet.
That's fair. Well, anyway, while that's going on, the second T-Rex will do the same, roaring out, lowering its jaw and charging. If you both would please make acrobatics checks again. That save could be probably a little higher. Oh well.
That was
23.
so bad.
Guys, why do you hate me?
Artorias just passes, just barely.
It is a good thing I have Boots of Elvenkind and Master status that.
That's fair. Yeah, you as the second one comes up, as you're dodging the first T-Rex biting down at you, your right knee gives out. You almost go down, but you catch yourself and you're able to pick yourself back up again. It's a little less graceful. It's a little less of a backflip in place. Oh, Xandu.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Xandu falls prone. This one is able to just, reeling from the second one, Artorias is able to catch himself, pick himself up, whereas Xandu just falls on his back, and the T-Rex is going to attack the prone one. That seems good. First attack. 37 to hit is looking a little better. I'm targeting Xandu, but I know Xandu's sheet isn't 100 yet. Would a 37 hit Artorias?
37 will hit.
Then it's reasonable to assume that
Yeah, it
whatever
definitely
gear...
would. It would hit Xandu, possibly crit.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely crit if...
Would it crit Artorias?
Nope, just a
Okay.
normal.
We're gonna assume it's a normal hit. I will err on the side of awesome, and assume that you would have a decent armor class, and I add not that much. I could add a lot more. This guy's kind of weak. Oh well. 26 points of piercing damage, and then
26?
it grabs you with no roll. Like Artorias sees this thing just get its jaws. I want to play a hunter, ranger, or druid in first edition with a T-Rex companion. That's random. But get its jaws around Xandu's midsection and pick him up. And for the third action... I've got two really cool things I can do here. I don't know which one I want to do. I want to try to do this. It has this thing called Fling that says it throws you into the air up to 10 feet from its mouth and 20 feet away. The creature falls 25 feet and takes falling damage accordingly. If the flung creature lands in the same space as the creature lands on it takes 46 damage. The creature being landed on can attempt a DC 23 reflex save, or I could just swallow you whole. I think that's what I'm going to do. But that means I have to check the universal monster rules here and see how that even works in this playtest. Monster attempts to swallow doop-a-doo, swallow creatures. Okay, I just want to know how do I do it? The monster attempts an athletics check opposed by Xandu's reflex DC. Okay, I can do that. So
My reflex DC.
And what's my acrobat? My athletics is plus 22. It's an attack, so it goes...
Oh, reflex, not acrobatics DC.
Yeah, your reflex DC.
That's a lot worse.
27 over your reflex DC.
Yes.
The T-Rex throws its head back, and Xandu, his cry is short as the T-Rex's mouth closes, and he takes... I suppose it happens now. I'm gonna make it happen. Let me go back and read Swallow Whole again, see when this damage ticks. Because if this was 1E, the game where things eat you all the time, I think it was your next turn. The monster swallow creature is grabbed, slowed 1, has to hold spells for suffocating. So when does the damage tick? Okay, so at the moment, Xandu is grabbed, Xandu is slowed 1, and Xandu has to hold his breath or start suffocating. So Xandu has a number of rounds of oxygen equal to his con score. The swallowed creature takes a list amount of damage when first swallowed, and at the end of each of its turns while it's swallowed. Okay. So as you pass through this beast's greedy gullet, you take 14 points of damage. And now, Artorias, what are you going to do about all this?
So is the dinosaur that swallowed Xandu in front of me?
Yeah, they're both like right up on you.
Okay.
It kind of like it throws its head back and down goes Xandu, and it looks down at you, still hungry. The crowd loves it.
I'm going to attack the dinosaurs that swallowed my friend. So
Is
3
it?
actions for 3 attacks.
Alrighty.
May the dice roll like me. It's a good thing I use my dex to hit.
Yeah, I think the rogue may be the best martial in the playtest for that reason. Though I will say that like it's real easy to encumber yourself. 28 definitely hits.
39.
Oh, those
and
are all
32.
you. 39 hits. 39 is a critical. 32 is a hit. 28 is a hit. So you have 1 crit and 2 hits.
A question about forceful. It says I increase my damage. So how would that work for Elven Curve Blade?
So an Elven Curve Blade does a D8 of damage.
Yeah.
Do you have an enchantment on it?
Yeah. So total hit die is 5. So 5d8 plus 5.
Wait. You have a plus 5 weapon?
No. I'm adding adding the enchantments and quality.
Okay. So the quality doesn't increase your hit dice. It's literally just like a plus 1 weapon does 2d8, not 1d8. So what is the enhancement bonus?
I have a plus 3 weapon.
A plus 3. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you could
So-
have. Actually, hang on. I need to... I'm going to double check that.
It is.
So wealth by level.
It is level 11, so it's like a +3 weapon, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I'm aware you said +3 weapon. I just... At level, you could have had 1/10, 1/9, 1/8, and 2/7, a +3. Oh, where is the potency rune?
Yeah,
The potency rune needs to be +10 for you to have it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if that isn't the case, you don't have that. I
So
have to
then
double
it would
check it.
be-
Just hang on. Let me. I'm just double checking. You could have by 10th level. Looks like a +3 weapon potency. That doesn't come in until 12th level treasure, so you don't have that.
Oh. Okay, so it'd just be +2 then.
Yeah, you have the best you could have right now is a +2. So then that means it's 3d8. So the first one is a critical hit, and that's 68 plus double strength, and then since all three of them connected, then it's 3d8 plus 3 plus strength, then it's 3d8 plus 6 plus strength. +1 per damage die every time. Does that make sense?
So it's just 3d8 plus my dex then.
Correct. But the first one is
Okay,
go ahead
so-
and roll. The critical hit is 6d8 plus double your dexterity. Go ahead and roll that.
Okay, so double my dexterity, so that's my dex mod times 2 then.
You got it. Plus 6d8. Double the dice, double the mod.
So 36, and then forceful.
And then forceful
So-
does not apply to this attack. Forceful applies to the second attack because it's the first. You make the first attack and then you make a second attack against the same guy, which you are. And if it hits, which it did, it does +1 point of damage per die rolled. Also, I'm super
Okay.
sad for you as I double back at this. Like 19, a 17, and an 18. If you were full attacking with an old school curve blade was crit, crit, crit. But, so what happens for the next attack is it's 3d8 plus 5 plus 3. And then the next one is 3d8 plus 5 plus 6. So 21 plus 17 plus 9.
This creature, it is not flat-footed, right?
It is not. Unless you have some ability to make it be flat-footed, it is not flat-footed.
Okay, so total damage is...
Then we tack 9 more onto that. Okay, I got it. It doesn't look good. You, as it reaches down and picks up Xandu and leans back up, you run up and just like 1, 2, 3, artfully into its leg. It roars back. The crowd is pretty okay with this. It's more like, oh, it's fighting.
So
It's
how injured is the dinosaur?
hard to say. Xandu, what's up?
Okay.
So you're slowed 1. You have 2 actions.
One, which means I only have 2 actions, right?
Right. And I imagine the breakout
Okay,
is
and
about
I
the
can't
same.
use any verbal, any spells with verbal components because I will suffocate.
Yeah, you will. Because you got that 1. So you're grabbed.
So
I forget how grab works. It's a lot different than how it worked back in the day. I don't like it nearly as much as I used to, but it is what it is. Okay, so doop-a-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo. I'm doing the scrolling. I don't care about black tentacles right now. Grabbed. Here we go. Well, I had it. It went away. Go back to it. There it is. So you're immobile and flat-footed. If you attempt to manipulate action, activity, free action, or reaction while grabbed, it's a DC 5 flat check or you lose it. And that's the only negative other than the slowed. You imagine you can still cut your way out of this thing as normal. Well, let's just look at Swallow Hole real quick, shall we?
Make sure there's nothing else there.
Swallow Hole, yeah. 'Cause this is a playtest, kids, and we're learning together as we kill the sorcerer. Kane will be so happy because you can't be the main character because you're dead. Okay, swallow creature is grabbed, slowed 1, has to hold its breath or start suffocating. Swallow creature takes the listed amount of damage when first swallowed and at the end of each of its turns while it's swallowed. So at the end of your turn, take 12 damage. Fun.
That's assuming I don't get out by then.
Yeah, it is. It is. Escaping this
Um,
ability's grab condition puts the victim back in the monster's mouth. So if you have like a break grapple kind of thing, you can climb up its esophagus. Fun. It's like a bad carnival red. This frees any other creature grabbed in the monster's mouth. That's sweet. So if like I grabbed Artorias but hadn't swallowed him and you climb up, you just kind of kick him out.
Yeah.
Nice. A swallowed creature can
now
attack the
Xandu's-
monster that has swallowed it, but only with unarmed attacks or with weapons of light, bulk, or less. These attacks target the monster's tack. If the monster takes piercing or slashing damage equaling or exceeding the toughness value listed in its swallow hole entry, the swallowed creature cuts a large enough opening to exit through. If only you had remembered those gauntlets. Well, technically, I believe you do have a weapon that's technically of light bulk. Right.
What do you mean?
The Star Knife.
Oh yeah, the Star Knife is not the War Axe though.
It does count as both a Star Knife and a Dwarven War Axe. I just need to see... Yes, a Star Knife is light bulk. So it counts as both. You can use the weapon normally. Which means you don't. It's not a D4. You could swing it as a D8 or a D12.
Quick question. Expert weapon. Did that increase your hit die by 1 as well?
It does not. It actually it wouldn't. It doesn't stack with the potency rune either. It's like a masterwork weapon.
Okay, I thought they did.
Not quite.
All right, so Xandu will two-handed swing with it.
Okay, it's a little awkward. There's definitely not a lot of room, so it almost comes like a whiplash. And as you do so, the Star Knife flings off.
For oh gosh, that's 29.
That does hit.
Okay, then rather than roll a whole bunch of stuff here, $13, 3d12. I don't have a d13.
You do not. That would make no sense. 30 is enough.
30
is
damage?
more than enough damage to like you're swallowed. You get bludgeoned down this thing's throat, and you just like you crack your capania, and the Star Knife swings and it cuts through the thing, and you're able to, with a rush of air and a gasp of breath, you fall out of the like somewhere between throat and tummy of a Tyrannosaur, gasping for air. You're no longer slowed one. You're no longer grabbed. You have 2 more actions now, and I take 30 damage to my tummy. It's like going to Chipotle.
So wait, is he like dead, or is he still alive?
He's not dead. He's hurting. You'd think he'd be
I'm
dead
out.
because you cut him in a place, but yeah, no, you're out. He's still alive.
All right, now that I am
Now the next question becomes, you're gonna fall 15 feet to get to the ground, but you don't have to because you have a fly speed. But doing so will break the disguise.
I can fall 15 feet. I got good acrobatics and cat fall. So it's basically falling 10 feet.
Oh yeah, you have catfall. What's your
Actually,
proficiency?
I have master proficiency in acrobatics now.
Yeah, you're fine then. Shut my mouth. You just kind of land artfully, that 3-point landing. As you land, the Star Knife flings back down, lands on your scarf. It snaps into battle axe form, great axe form rather. The crowd is amazed and impressed and drunk. And you have 2 actions.
All right. That means it's probably spell time.
It's spell time!
Yeah. You know what? I don't imagine Tyrannosaurs have very good will saves, so
That's fair. I probably do not. Well, it's a proficiency system. It's better than it would have been in first edition.
yeah. So let's go with Phantasmal Killer. That's
Sure.
fun.
Oh, it's fun. It's a good thing these NPCs aren't important. Okay, so I make a will save over your class DC. I get a...
Which should be
I get a 20.
26.
So I fail, I don't critically fail.
And I think there's something Something you got to do with that?
Yeah,
I'm flipping through this book so fast.
Same. Control F is your friend, dude. That's how this whole playtest works. Until we figure it out together. Okay, so I failed.
Gotta have a sheet to keep my character sheet open as well.
That's fair, yeah. Okay, so on a failure, I take 8d6 mental damage, and I'm frightened 2.
Fun.
Frightened 2, not frightened as well. I take 8d6 damage, and I'm frightened 2. It's not the best way you could have worded that, but it sounds painful.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything interesting?
There's a Phantasmal Killer.
Ouch.
Yeah, I don't know what scares the Tyrannosaur, but something.
It sees a meteor. Too soon!
Nah, it sees the person who captured it, probably.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense. Sees the thing. Honestly, it's a very low intelligence. Speaking of low, that was a very below average roll for 8d6 at 22 damage. Eek. It probably sees you as a dumb animal and you've just cut out of its throat. But it takes the damage. It's frightened as well. That was T-Rex, not T-Rex. Is that all from Xandu?
Yes, that is 2 actions to do that.
Alrighty. What am I going to do on my turn? Do I want to just keep biting? I guess I want to just keep biting, don't I? What else can I do? Yeah, I guess we're going to attack us some Artorius. This is the one that's not frightened too. This is the one that didn't just swallow Xandu. Going in for a 22 to hit.
Miss.
Do I fumble?
AC, it is 33, so I believe the fumble.
I do fumble. Okay, so, what happened? It is frightened too as well. It gets a vague flashback of what could happen to it, and it's going to take it misses. It will take a -2 on this attack. So that. The second attack is... Come on, roll 20. This is not the time to freeze up. Go! I'll have to wait patiently on roll 20.
So,
I don't know if I'm still coming through over there or not. Ah, there we go. 29 misses. And then the last attack is it's a dumb animal. It doesn't know any better. 21 also fumbles.
It did a fumble.
So it's going to roll that same attack bonus to hit its buddy. And it misses its buddy, and the fumble chain won't continue. Then we go to the other T-Rex that's frightened too, at Xandu. Full attack, 27 to hit.
That would just barely match.
Okay. Then I hit for 3d12 plus 7.
Actually, as a reaction, I'm going to use my shield to increase my DC my AC by 1, so it misses.
And it just barely misses. Yeah, fair enough. Shields are good. That's the ring of protection of this meta, I'm telling you. Second attack is a 16.
Which does not hit and would fumble.
Okay, then the last attack will target its friend, and it misses that. And it's Artorius' turn. These guys have just kind of become a flailing mess as you guys dodge out from under them.
I will attack the dinosaurs that had hurt my friend by eating him. So 3 attacks.
Is there?
It definitely rogues. If you make them right, they are definitely one of the best martial classes.
I think they are because they get dex to attack and damage. But at the same time, you could at the same time. Strength is important because I have a druid sorcerer I'm about to start playing and he's encumbered at 10 strength. Okay, so 23 misses.
33.
A 33 hits, a 27 hits. So 2 hits, 1 miss, no crits. So
okay,
that's a grand total of your dex is +5.
Yes.
So 10 13 68 plus 13. From 2 attacks would be what it is.
Do you just want me to roll all this damage dice?
Yeah, I don't have any DR or anything. So just 68 plus 13.
51 slashing damage.
Oh god. That's 4 8s.
Nice.
Dang. That is how you stab things. The 1-2 punch of the Order of the Nail as it swings an elven weapon. You could probably have some Chelish elven Hell Knights. The elves don't exist so much on this Galarian. They've all left and never really came back. But that one that had that sword, that was real good. Xandu, you definitely see Artorias, as this thing's like leaning into you, and you raise your shield cantrip or shield like an actual shield.
It's a shield cantrip with the reactive shield feat, allowing me to use it as a reaction.
Ah, fair. Okay. So it almost bears down on you, and then you're just, it's not even a thought. You just, like the urge to pull your hand out of a hot, like too hot of a bath, and bad. It's that kind of thing, and shield deflects it, and then Artorias just 1-2. I farted. I got too excited. Hi, Twitch.
If Kane is watching this, I swear.
He might be. Kane watches quite a bit when he's not playing. He likes to heckle me. My buddy. Probably heckling me now. Nope. One viewer. Don't know who it is.
All right, so is it my turn now?
It is. You got it.
All right. What do I got? Ooh, there's a lot of fun 6th level spells. I'm not gonna pick those out quite yet. I got a turn to take.
Yeah, a lot of the fun caster spells get to be in level 5 and 6 slots area.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So I suppose is there still one that's alive?
Yeah, they're both still
Are they
alive.
both?
One of them's not looking the best, but they're both still alive.
All right. First action, Xandu is going to use a Let's just do a standard 4th level Vampiric Touch.
Sounds
Nice,
good.
nice. So are you using it amplified to highest slot possible, or?
No, it's one slot below that.
Yeah, Vampiric Touch. That's one of my favorite favorite spells in 1e4.
Spells real good, yeah.
That's 4d6 is a touch attack.
Okay, understood.
So I make the touch attack first.
Nasty.
Get that tack. My touch armor class is much, much higher than it would have been in first edition. In first edition, this thing touches the gate.
Yeah. That would be a 19 plus proficiency is
a lot. 19 plus 11. Right, yeah.
19 plus 11 plus 6 for strength.
Big boy. Okay, so 25. So it's a 36 over its touch?
Yep.
That's a critical.
Nice.
Awesome.
You definitely, it comes down to bite. Xandu goes 1-2, and you kind of just grab this thing's eyeball. Which is about as big as the palm of your hand, probably.
I'm picturing this fight. Have any of you seen any Gladiator movies?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a critical, though, so I got to double that damage.
You do. You got double dice.
Do 8d6.
I'm picturing the fight going on. People are cheering for us to win because we are quite...
They're more cheering because they're drunk and there's fighting happening. But yes.
Yeah, we are the VIP stars.
Possibly.
Air quote stars.
Oh wow, I gain all of that. For some reason I thought I'd only gain half of this.
No, you
so
gain the
I
whole
gain this
shebang.
as 10.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Very, very good spell. 26 damage. You guys aren't so good at D6s, but you're pretty good at D8s. Plus 26 equals... Okay, that's 2 actions. It's still kicking. It leans back a little bit as you get into its eye and you pull, the blood comes from popped vessels in its eye into your hand and suffuses your body, and it looks like it's pretty clearly lost the use of that eye as its head comes back and it roars, and the crowd freaks out a little bit as it throws its head a little too far and the blood splatters across them. Some of them don't even notice because they're too busy with each other. You understand. It's a fun time in Oppara right now.
That was a non-cantrip spell, so I'm going to activate Magical Striker to improve my Star Scarf.
Alrighty. Did you take Dangerous Sorcery?
I did not.
Yeah, fair enough.
Not yet, anyways.
Fair enough.
Um,
So then you get a +1 on that weapon.
Yep. Which is already a +3. Or no, a +2.
Okay.
So it
So
goes
then
up
it
to a
becomes a
+3.
+3. Yes, it does.
And he's gonna swing at. You know what? Why not? He'll swing at the injured one. Try to finish it off.
Alrighty, make it happen.
This is at -5, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no, I should swing at the other one. So I,
So
because
you
it's
get sweep.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I could sweep with it.
Makes sense.
That is 11 plus 20 plus 6, so 37.
That does hit.
Minus whatever sweep does.
So -4 would still hit. So there's 6, 5, 4, 30. Actually, that crits. That's a 33. That I think it crits. Does it crit? That crits, doesn't it? I gotta go back down. Back to the T's. T for Tyrannosaur. No, I wasn't looking at other monsters to throw at you. Why would you accuse me of that? Yeah. That what was the total on the roll before the -4?
You said 33.
It was, yeah, so 33 doesn't. It would have crit over his touch, but it's just a regular hit.
Yeah. Okay. So wait a minute, because it was 11 plus 19 plus 6 minus 4.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. 11 plus 19. So it's 30, 36, 35,
That was actually 32.
32. So yeah, it does not crit. Just a hit.
Okay.
Very close.
Yeah, I was hoping for that 8d12.
Yeah, aren't we all?
Yeah. And then I don't know if I can still have the cold on this with the returning property.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I can?
It's a free thing. You get it because GM stuff.
Okay. Another 1d6 on top of that.
Okay.
All right.
Duly noted.
Another 28 damage.
Another 28 damage. Understood. That one hasn't been hit yet, and you kind of just cut into it, and it roars back again. The crowd continues to go wild, but now they're going to focus. That one hasn't been hit yet, and will attack Zandu.
Remember, they are frightened.
They are now. Its frightened ticks down to 1. So 29 to hit.
29.
I believe 29 hits.
Yeah, that should hit.
Alrighty. Well, even with your reaction?
I am going to still take the reaction just to increase my AC for the next hit, but...
Fair enough.
Yes.
So 37 points of damage. It grabs you.
37. Oh, no.
No, so that was 10, 11, and 9. That
There
was
goes my vampiric touch points.
some real good 2 to power.
Today isn't your day.
They never are. And then here's an athletics check over your reflex DC, 35.
Yeah, that really sucks that it's over reflex and not acrobatics DC. So my acrobatics DC is way higher.
Yeah, I bet it is. So it swallows you whole as you go down. Take 13 points of damage. And then for my last trick, I really wish my feet were agile. That makes me sound a little creepier, I guess. But I'm gonna attack. I want to see if I can swallow Artorias too. I'm gonna get super greedy here. Actually, I'm just gonna try to grab him. That seems better. So this is over your reflex DC. 24. Well, you're a rogue.
That's a miss.
Yeah, I thought it would be.
If you rolled 2 higher, then you would have beaten the DC.
I got close. Very close. The other T-Rex has nothing. The other T-Rex actually is going to retreat. It doesn't really have anywhere to go, per se, because it's a big open arena, right? or a big open enclosure, but it's not doing well. It turns tail and runs as far as it can until it contacts an adamantine barrier and it begins roaring its face right in front of the crowd. The crowd oohs and ahs and freaks out. And then it's Artorias' turn as this thing just panics and it basically just tramples all the undergrowth around it.
So it just one now.
One immediately hostile. The other one could turn around and attack you, but at the moment it's just too beat up.
So the dinosaur that Zandu touch. So how injured is he at the moment?
Injured enough that instinct is taken over and it's running away. Like I said, it's clearly lost the use of its right eye. It's got a big old gash in its throat. It doesn't look good.
So is he grabbed by that dinosaur?
No, he's in the tummy of the other one.
Wait, so the T-Rex then?
Yes, T-Rex, like the Jax fatality from Mortal Kombat 10, not T-Rex like the other one.
Okay, I'm going to attack 3 times on that dinosaur.
Alrighty, make it happen.
Folks, they are definitely very good fighters with the Elven Curve Blade if you made them right.
It's the weapon.
29?
29 is the only one of those that hits, though, I think. The 24 might. 24 doesn't hit. The 24 and 22 both fail to connect. The 29 does hit.
Okay. Definitely Elven Curve Blade is one of the best finesse weapon in the game. So
yeah, no, I agree. I like the Dog Slicer as well because it has backstab. 15 points of damage is assigned.
Ouch, 15.
And that was not as good of a roll as you could have rolled. But Xandu, what you got? Back into the belly of a new beast.
He's gonna pretty much do the same thing that happened when he was last swallowed.
Okay.
He's gonna swing.
Bada.
Yeah.
Now, in first edition, when this happened to the sorcerer, classically speaking, it was just way worse.
Yeah. So that would be a 26 to hit.
That does hit.
Okay. And this is only... oh, darn. That last one, I forgot to throw in my strength mod. Oh, well.
It only takes 6 more damage.
Yep. 7. Wait, 6, yeah.
Got it.
This is 3d12 plus of the 6.
Plus of the 6.
Plus of the 1d6. Okay, let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun.
37.
That is more than enough again to cut you out.
And Zandu has the cat fall going on again.
And you land perfectly.
Yep. And I got 2 more actions, huh?
Yes, you do. No longer slowed 1, no longer garbled. Not taking 2d6 plus 7. Gracefully on your feet. You see, actually, would both of you really quickly make me a perception check?
Okie dokie.
28.
Okay. I don't think I have any real means of hiding myself. It's unfortunate. Xandu's got... Okay, so both of you... Xandu, as he lands, and Artorias, as he gets the, miss, and then stabs in... Well, I think this is just a slashing weapon. Yeah, and, slashes in. The sky darkens over your head, and both of you instinctively look up. And as you do so, a gigantic avian shape... You make it out, not necessarily mechanically trying to block out the sun, but it's blocking out the sun. People ooh and ah and cheer and point, and the more sober ones are intelligent enough to run away. A lot of people just aren't, as something or another from the sky begins to nosedive in the direction of the injured T-Rex. It has entered the initiative at 37.
Can I make out what it is quickly, or
perhaps on your turn, because that's an action. Xandu has 2 more.
All right. Oof is right. Yeah. I think Xandu's gonna heal. He's gonna cast Soothe on himself.
Seems good. That has been eroded by the by. Soothe has a range of 30 feet now. No longer a touch spell. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
That was in the errata along with signature skills are not a thing. I just haven't made a video about it yet because I want to do those all at once.
Good idea to make it all in one video.
As opposed to just like little like tidbits along the way. For anybody else who might be watching, if you're playing it,
level 5.
Gotcha.
Level 5.
If you're playing a Moon Totem Barbarian, your anathema has changed, so you can use weapons, but not when you're raging.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, barbarians are fun.
That's after the rogue optimization video tomorrow. I think yesterday if you're watching on YouTube. I think the next one I'm going to do is the barbarian, and I want to build to survive the fatigue round. Should be fun.
Yeah, combat rogues. They're quite fun to make.
It looks really strong. You have not had really much problem hitting.
So that should be 1d6. Not 1d6. That should be. Oh my gosh, I hate math, especially on the spot.
Me too. Math is hard.
4. So that should be 9d6.
Does that take both of your actions?
7. Huh?
Does that take
takes
both
both of my actions? Yes, you can move on.
So while you're doing that, you guys see this thing just dive down. It's gonna attack with whatever it's the best with. Kind of arbitrary. Okay. I'll make the roll happen just so I'm not cheating, because I could fumble and instead just collide with the ground. I don't fumble. So I hit the T-Rex for 2d10 plus 12, which, oh god, that might not have got there. That was 1 and a 2. For 15 points of damage, maybe gets there. No, I have to make one more strike. So I'm going to use one of my agile feet. Got my dancing feet on.
Nice. Bird feet.
14. I like these monsters too. That hits. And at this point, I have 3 hit points, so I can't not kill it. So you guys hear just the cry of a monstrous avian as it descends down and, it doesn't tackle the T-Rex, but that's basically what happens. It's about as big as the T-Rex, and that's not including its massive wingspan. It just lands on it, and the beak hits its throat, and one of its talons hits its flank, and it takes it down, and this monstrous thing begins tearing into the T-Rex that cries out one final cry before burbling and gurgling, and at this point, a lot of the people do disperse, because it's very clear that this thing, we're pretty much at time. Nature checks to identify if you've got them. Well, you can make it untrained. You just have a -2.
Yeah.
That's weird. This is still weird. I like it. It's weird.
Nature check. Here we go.
So this T-Rex is now very dead.
25?
25 is definitely a thing.
That's not as high as a 25. For sure.
Is it
That's a
considerably
20.
lower? A 20 is still good enough. That's right on the nose. Artorias is a little more familiar. These guys don't exist as far north as Varizia. They tend to live in more warm, arid climates, not unlike northern Garund. And that's where, in his travels, Artorias has seen a rock. Sometimes they're used as pack animals because they well and truly just have animal intelligence, and they can be domesticated. But in the case of this one, it appears to have been a zoo animal that has been let free. You assume some kind of massive aviary that would have kept it in, and somebody left the gate open because they were drunk and stupid, and this rock has flown out and it's found its next meal. The T-Rex, and as it begins pulling out tendons with its beak, its face cocks in your direction, and in your direction. The T-Rex sees it. It already went. This T-Rex is going to full attack, and then we'll call it a night. First attack, d20 plus. I'm going to target Artorias. I haven't hit Artorias enough. Does a 30 hit Artorias?
Miss.
Damn it.
AC 33.
AC 33.
Dexy combat rope tank.
Spaghetti boy. A 24 misses then, but doesn't fumble. And this will target Xandu for a 20, which misses but doesn't fumble, question mark?
That does miss but not fumble.
All right, fair enough. And that is where we call it for tonight. You guys possibly see 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 forms shimmer behind you as maybe friends come and help you. Maybe it's time for Brad the Boulder Ripper to suplex a T-Rex. And that will be the name of that session next session. But in the meantime, that's all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. And go check out the Antiplanar Crossroads because this fine young woman over here is going to jam a one-shot at 400, and they're like right there. They're just like 20-ish subscribers, probably less at this point, away from being able to do a thing. Also, they're in the process of putting out... I hear some talk about how the audiobook isn't going to come out on schedule because of the way Paizo's errata-ing, and it feels weird. But they definitely have put out a lot of that book in audiobook form, and by that book, I mean that book, the Pathfinder playtest core rulebook, for your listening pleasure. Also, they play games and stuff. Super sweet. But that's all we have. I'm going to quit rambling now. Rambling is not the path of a true warrior. Somebody honked outside my apartment. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Donald, that was lame. What? Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you're damn right.